Welcome, everyone, one and all, boys and girls, men and women, people and smaller people, to Take the Black Live, the show where myself, Dan Selcke, the editor of winteriscoming.net, and Daniel Roman, the other editor of winteriscoming.net, and occasional guests talk about all things, sci-fi, fantasy, movies, television. And we are here on a very special day, as I'm sure you all know. Hey, Julie. Hey, Christian. Anybody out there watching for the first time, because this was a big day, feel free to chime in. Here on a special day because, as I'm sure a lot of you have noticed, we got some new big, juicy, ripe, fresh information about House of the Dragon, HBO's upcoming Game of Thrones prequel show. Daniel, how are you feeling this day? Hello, how are you?
It's a rush. It's a rush, man. I feel like I'm on speed today, and I swear I'm not. It's just the news. The news has been crazy. Because we got what's the deal, Dan? Why are we so excited? Tell the people.
Okay,
they all know. That's why everyone's here. Hello, everyone. But we're gonna talk about it.
This job can feel like you're on speed. On like a good day when there's like a lot of stuff happening, it is excitement. On other days, it's kind of like, let's get this over with. But some days it's really, really fun. Today was a fun day. And because HBO announced the release date for House of the Dragon, August 21st, 2022. And Daniel, I'm just gonna say right now,
yes,
we called it. Didn't
we've been calling it?
Did we not call it for like a straight month now? We have been saying August because of all these signs, all like the books coming out around this time. They all kind of were like, there's some new book pointing, they're coming out in July. There's a new calendar in July. There's like a making of book coming out in November after the season would be over. And then Matt Smith and Emma Darcy's management agency started to say August. So like I'm just want to say, we have been calling August for a straight month. We're geniuses. We're correct. We are the Warren Buffett of dragons and space lasers, and we should be commended for this.
That's right. Call us, HBO. We can help you with your marketing clearly because we know what you guys are thinking.
We're in there.
We're in there. Yeah, that was kind of the thing I prefaced. When we found out the news today, I was like, oh, it's August 21st, and we called it. Because, sometimes when that happens, you got to take a minute and just feel good about it. Because, it's fascinating to look at the book schedules now, because it is like that calendar, the Fire and Blood tie-in. Those come out in July, and then the show debuts. And then right like around the end of the show and after the show is the illustrated Rise of the Dragon and the making of book. So they've got a HBO and George R.R. Martin are going to have a nice end of their year this year for sure.
Absolutely.
Or late year.
Gonna afford some solid Christmas presents this year. They have a nice runway planned. HBO does. And thanks everybody. Julie, you're the best. I agree, Julie. Thanks for noticing.
Thank you.
Melissa, Elaine, everyone is pretty happy about this. Diane Newman. Yes, some great news all around happening. And okay, so there's two things I want to bring up. The first is let's do pictures first, because they released a lot of pictures, a lot of very pretty glossy pictures.
They're so pretty.
I love visual stimulation because my brain has been degraded by a lot of TV and I understand things. Okay, so here we have.
I love this shot.
This is the best one, I think, of the group. So we got Miley Alcock. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, but I'll learn. As young Rhaenyra Targaryen, and Emily Carey as young Alicent Hightower. So these are like House of the Dragon, like Game of Thrones. It's an ensemble show, a lot of stuff going on at once. But if you wanted to like narrow it down to one driving conflict, it's probably these two. So Rhaenyra is the daughter of King Viserys, and she is promised the throne. And then Alicent, who is there hugging her behind her, is the second wife of her father, the king, who is her mother dies. And the conflict is, at first they like each other in this young thing here. They like each other a lot. And then they grow apart when Alicent bears the king's sons and is like, you know what? I'd rather my kids be king and you not be queen. How about that? What do you think of that, Rhaenyra? And that will eventually, and then when the king dies, let's put her to war. So I like the shot a lot. I like kind of the soft lighting. I like kind of the glossiness of it. And I like the intimacy. Like, I like that they're going to have this personal dimension, right? That they're going to start as friends and then be driven apart by, ambition, legacy, power, all that juicy Shakespearean crap.
All those things. All those things that Game of Thrones shows are about.
That made Game of Thrones so fun to watch. What's your take on this, Dean? Have any?
I think one of the things I love about this picture more than even some of the other ones is that I feel like it's telling us something. It's telling us a story, this picture. Because so if I remember right, and correct me if I'm wrong, Alicent came to the Red Keep before she was married to Viserys. Her father, Otto Hightower, who they released an image of today, Rhysifons, he looks real evil, even though he's kind of a gray character. So Alicent came to the Red Keep because her father kind of wanted her to hang around King Viserys and catch his eye. But before that, like, she and Rhaenyra Targaryen were just friends.
I think they were buddies.
She became her stepmom, which is kind of like, it's understandable how there might be some weird tension there. I've been wondering how much of their young dynamic they're gonna show in House of the Dragon, and I feel like with that picture, I'm like, okay, they're gonna really build this conflict up from the time they're young to show their schism, where King Viserys says he still wants Rhaenyra to be the heir onto his deathbed. That's what he says. Rhaenyra is the heir, and Alicent and all of her small council are basically like, nope. As soon as Viserys dies, they decide we're gonna put Aegon II on the throne. So I love that shot.
Yeah, that is the best one. It's because of what you said, that it's telling a story. That, I mean, the director Greg Yaitanis, I don't know if that's how you say his name, was talking at like an interview about how it's all important to ground things in character, how we're kind of taking inspiration from the early seasons, when he said that I like this, that Game of Thrones lived in the glances and kind of the sideways looks and the gestures, which is like a very, like, which you think if the show is like, oh, the Dragons and Zombie one. But I agree with him that it really was at its best when it's like these small, little, subtle things that can move mountains. And
totally,
this shot does kind of show me that, they want to tell this intimate story that has a grand scale. I mean, it's just juicy. Yeah. Although it's not a correction, but I think I remember in Fire and Blood, they said that they were buddies, like, even after Alicent became her stepmom. It was only when she had the sons that they started to rift apart, because then it's like a threat. But like, even some when they have jokes like, "Hey mom, how you doing? Hey girl," then they like can go, go shopping together or whatever. I would do that.
Yeah, man, I can't wait to see how they do that dynamic, because that sounds right to me. That as time went on, and when she had kids, because Alicent had 3 kids, so then it became very much a conflict of who's going to take over, and
then their kids also hate each other, and they also get into fights.
They do.
Oh, that's good.
It's going to be juicy. The family, the closest thing Game of Thrones had to that, I feel like, was the Starks and Lannisters, like kind of them not liking each other. But this is even more, because it's the same family, and it's 2 branches of the same family, and it's parents hating each other, kids hating each other, and kind of them bouncing off one another to just make the situation worse and worse.
Kids stealing dragons, kids gouging out other kids' eyes and little back things.
The kids really kick things into high gear throughout the conflict. Like, usually when things escalate, it's because of something with the kids.
which is just like an immediate kind of connection right to like an emotional reason for doing stuff. Like there's like some series, some books, some movies, some TV shows where like the reason for the plot is you have to go get the thing, or like some tier of Evermore you don't really care about. Like, I always thought the Game of Thrones and House of the Dragon are like, the reason for the plot is you stabbed out my kid's eye and I'm angry. Like, it's so much more direct. I enjoy. We should probably look at
a kid has power, and they're gonna do a dumb thing that a kid who is a king might do, like behead someone they're not supposed to.
Yeah, I always enjoyed that about these stories, how they sort of have like a direct line to the heart. Okay,
Yeah,
let's look at another picture because we talked about this one for a while. We
let's do
also
it.
have, okay, of course we have
Oof.
Mr. Matt
Oof.
Smith as
Yeah,
Daemon Targaryen. So okay, the biggest name in this
looking
cast,
good.
looking good. That is an effective wig. So look, like from the start,
Ooh, tell us your thoughts, Dan.
Matt Smith, I mean, he didn't strike me as like, oh, that's perfect casting. And even now,
Yeah,
I look at him and I still see Matt Smith. That this is going to have to come alive in the performance. I think for me, like,
totally.
I'm not sure I'm going to really fully buy Matt Smith as Damon until I am watching him act. Because
Yeah.
I mean, I can't not see Matt Smith in a platinum blonde wig.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I mean, Matt Smith. Damon
Smith.
is the character who, like, so HBO released all these character descriptions today.
Mm-hmm.
He's the one who gets but it is said that whenever a Targaryen is born, the gods toss a coin in the air because he is violent and mercurial and charming and schemes and is dangerous, but also charismatic. I'm right there with you. I mean, looking at him, it's like, yeah, it is Matt Smith in a platinum blonde wig. He's gonna really have to sell it. I think there's more pressure for him to sell it because it's also like one of the coolest roles, one of the coolest characters in this conflict.
As Julie says, still not a fan of the wigs, but I can get over it.
Yeah,
it's gonna be a wig heavy show. Yeah, this is gonna be wig stock 2022. It's gonna be a lot of wigs.
Wig stock. Yeah.
Again, I want to see them in motion and do everything. Like again, it's because it's Matt Smith. Like I don't mind the blonde wig on Miley Alcock, but Matt Smith he's the doctor, so it's gonna be harder to get over that hump. But I will. I bet I can. And I believe in him. He's a good actor. I'm gonna have to see it happen before I can fully get enthusiastic about it. Speaking of wigs, though, we also have here a photo of Steve Toussaint as Corlys Velaryon. I don't know these names, and Eve Best as his wife Rhaenys Targaryen, or Nay Targaryen, now Velaryon. The Velaryons, important. Trading family, big mariners, very, very rich, the Lannisters of their time. And these two are important because they're kind of like the Ned Stark and Catelyn Stark of the time. Like they're actually like a healthy couple. Like they are married and they're happy and they have kids and it's like weirdly normal, which is good to have once in a while.
Yeah, totally. I think so. The Velaryons, they have the wigs too because they are of the blood of old Valyria. They came with the Targaryens. I think they were like a minor house serving the Targaryens. Rhaenys, she's interesting because this precedent of men taking the line of rule in Westeros was really established because of her. Because at a point before the show, she was up for the throne and she was the favored for the throne, and there was a great council, and basically the council said, we need to give it to a male heir. Even if there's not a female, if it's only a female heir, we'll give it to a cousin, something like that. So Viserys, who is the king in this, Paddy Cassadine, he ended up becoming the king, and Rhaenys is the queen that never was.
Right.
So of course she's going to back Rhaenyra Targaryen when the schism happens, because it's kind of like history repeating itself. But yeah, they're one of the rare healthy couple in Game of Thrones. The show needs that to make
it happens occasionally,
work and not just be like everyone's awful.
Like, and they will contrast them with, say, for instance, Matt Smith, Daemon Targaryen, and Rhaenyra Targaryen, who are uncle and niece and also have a thing together. Because this is Game of Thrones, and that sort of thing just happens. We're just gonna have to get used to it. I'm sorry.
Yep. And this is the age. So for what it's worth, this is the age of the Targaryens. So the incest is normalized in their family, but even in their family, Rhaenyra and Daemon raise eyebrows.
Doesn't the king
Rhaenyra's father
banish
does not
him
approve.
for a while, but
Yes.
taking an interest. But he dies, so I got to anyway.
Oh, yeah, I think before he dies, there's a period he's banished to go wage war in the Stepstones,
right?
Basically to keep him away from Rhaenyra.
Don't work.
Don't work.
Which again, it's going to, just it's kind of refreshing because I mean, no, it's horrible, but it's refreshing in the way, like as I said during Game of Thrones, I am anti-incest on this in general. It's
that's a good policy.
Yeah, it's just that is the official policy of Take the Black, that we are anti incest. The closer it gets, the worse it is. It's refreshing in that you want your characters, like the traditional line, if you're making like a Marvel show or whatever, to be likable. And
yeah,
I like that HBO has the cojones to go ahead and say our two of our biggest characters, the most important ones, the ones there will be Funkos of, they will be in an incestuous relationship. That takes guts, and I like that. It's just because, like Game of Thrones, we liked a lot of the characters, but even when they did horrible things, and frankly, I'm not sure there are characters on this show who are as like immediately lovable as Arya or Tyrion or something. They're more, I mean, there were like some who were nice. There's like the one, I forget his name, the Bastard of Tumbleton, who's kind of a cool guy, or some of the children are good, but like it's more like Rhaenyra, who's a very complicated figure who like is a capable, interesting person, but she's also very ambitious. She's also pretty brutal. She's married to her uncle. Like she has some wrinkles, and there are a lot of folk like that, and I applaud them taking that risk.
Yeah, it's going to be, I think that's a challenge of the show, right? Because A Song of Ice and Fire fleshed out all those characters so well to make them so lovable. And, for this, we have Fire and Blood, which is like, it just never gives, it doesn't give the same level of depth to get attached to the characters. So like, I think there's a similar character to Arya too. I think it's one of Daemon's daughters.
It's unclear. It's Nettles. She's great. I do like Nettles a lot.
Yeah,
but she won't be around till like season 2 or something. So they're gonna start with some wild, wacky stuff, which I'm all for. As Joanne says, in a lot of ancient cultures, even in our timeline, incest was a commonplace event, which is true. But there's a difference between
exactly why it's here.
Like, yes, incest happened in ancient times, but like, do movie studios want to put incest in their multi-quadrillion-dollar TV shows? Like, those are two different considerations. Just because it happens doesn't mean you have to put it on TV. But HBO is doing it, and I'm good for that. Ashley says, you're right, of course, Dan, but I'm also anti-murder, but all these happen on all these shows. It's good as they stick. It's good and they stick with the stories written, which I completely agree with, Julie. But I think that there are like a lot of networks who, like, the executives will say, like, you can't have them do that. Don't have them do that. We don't want to alienate women 18 to 34. We don't like this test badly with this demographic. And just there are things you go against conventional wisdom to do on TV, and it's nice that they're going to be they're going to have to be largely ignored for this show to be true to the source material.
Yeah, I think HBO is good with that. I think in terms of like check-in viewership boxes, and again, I'm speculating here, but it feels like, I just got done watching Raised by Wolves recently. Ooh. I don't know what viewership boxes that was checking, but that's the kind of thing where it's like they're just giving the freedom to tell the story as long as it's good and they make it work. And it's going to be interesting to see how they carry a show where like a lot of the main players are incestuous, like, on some level,
and spend money on it.
It's not just Rhaenyra and Daemon.
Yeah, no, it's not. Like, it's one thing to like make The Sopranos back in the day, where it's like you're filming in like modern day New Jersey. You don't like you can go to sets, but like this, they're spending tens of millions of dollars on, and there's the incest murder. Like, so it's a bigger risk.
Yeah, truth. Okay, but it's not all incest. Our next picture. Let's say nice. Thank you. So we have another picture that we're gonna put up here on the screen. This is Miss Arya, Sonia Mizuno, and she is another one of Daemon's love interests slash closest advisors. She is a dancer from Lys, I believe, who comes over to the Seven Kingdoms and has a very large arc over the course of the story. She's basically the Varys.
Yeah,
of this tale.
The Mistress of Whisperers, they call her. A good character.
Yes.
Like, again,
yeah,
like,
a great character.
Not like really fleshed out in the book, but just the arc of like kind of starting from nothing, catches Daemon Targaryen's attention, and ends up becoming like the chief informant for Rhaenyra Targaryen during the war. Like, there's a lot of there, you know, like you could really flesh that out into something really, really cool. So, and yeah, I'm all for it.
Yeah, I think they'll have some interesting room to explore in terms of the romances here, because Daemon, you know, aside from the incest, he's also polyamorous somewhat. You know, he's in a Rhaenyra and Mysaria, he's in relationships with both of them at the same time, and they are aware of it. And that, but things still get jealous and messy as other people become involved.
Yeah, like
I'm curious to see how they handle all of that. It could get very messy.
That's the thing. Like, it's a messy story. And I wonder if calling him polyamorous gave him too much credit for just like
probably
around a lot.
Much.
And Rhaenyra maybe is like a little practical person. Like, I mean, yeah, but I want to be queen. He can help me, so it's fine. Whatever. They'll cross that bridge when they come to it. He's also married to Lena Valerian in this early season. Like, we know that she'll be in it. Yeah. She's been cast. So that guy gets around. Okay. Says.
House of the Dragon, The Many Loves of Daemon Targaryen. That's the subtitle of the show.
I have to read this comment from Julie.
Do it.
Maybe they could get Will in to slap a few people for committing incest. Oh, Will Smith. What? We'll get to that a bit later in the lightning round, but like, yeah, that was wild. That was some Game of Thrones stuff up on the Oscar stage over the weekend. Just a guy got up a seat in front of millions of people, slaps a guy on national TV, international TV, and just sits back down and then gets an award later. It was insane.
That was some high drama. High drama at the Oscars for sure.
Celebrities lately have been off the chain. And then Ezra Miller got arrested in Hawaii for like yelling at a karaoke bar. Just like people are going off right now.
That was what it was for. Was yelling at a karaoke bar.
Where he like grabbed the mic from someone who was singing and was like hurling obscenities at people who were singing karaoke. Apparently, this is what was reported. He's the Flash. That's fun. And then the boys guy got arrested for heading into a bar fight. Yep. Anthony Starr. That's the one. Star. Two R's. Vladimir Putin loves J.K. Rowling. Like, this stuff's been happening in celebrity spheres lately. All right. Should we go on to another picture? The last one, I think.
Let's do it. Yeah, we got one more picture in the hopper. Let's take a look. Ooh, that's a nice one.
Yeah, it's not bad. This is a Fabian Frankel as Kristen Cole, apparently in a black void somewhere, kneeling in his armor. So he's a cool character too. He is a member of the Kingsguard. I think he's Dornish born. And his deal is that he's on the Kingsguard. And again, in Fire and Blood, the book this is based on, they leave it kind of ambiguous, like a lot of things, including him. We know that he was very close with Rhaenyra as kids. And then we know that they have some kind of horrible falling out. And then he joins Alicent Hightower and her son on that side of the war and fights Rhaenyra. But we don't know, like, were they romantically involved? Were they just great friends? Did one of them want to be romantic and the other one didn't? Were they romantic for a while and one of the other ended it? How did it end? Like, all of this is purposefully not made explicit. And the book, in the book, the gimmick is we get like 3 versions of the story. Like, in one, he, like, Rhaenyra wants to run away with him. He's like, no. And the other, he wants to run away with Rhaenyra, and she's like, no. Like, so it's not told. So they got to choose one. Yeah. It's kind of an interesting place for a writer to be in. Like, we have some options as to what this character did. Which one is it?
I think that's a good place for them to be in, because, you know, they can go with whatever. They have more freedom, I guess, to choose whichever story best suits the story they're trying to tell. And Fire and Blood is purposely ambiguous in a bunch of places, and that is a very specific one where it's like it just the waters are very muddy. All we know is that they had a falling out, and he basically becomes like a sworn enemy of hers. And he's kind of like making Game of Thrones comparisons. I think of him as kind of like a Loras Tyrell type character. Like he's like the gem of the King's Guard a little bit.
Sure.
He's like the lead knight. So yeah, we'll see what happens there. That's going to be juicy, I think. However that goes down.
There's also the bit where he throws Lyman Beesbury out a window for suggesting that they don't rebel against the crown. Or that's the one version. I mean, okay,
yes,
they should definitely.
Or did he trip out the window?
No, they do the throwing out. That's that choice is easy. Yes, he throws him out the window. Yeah. That's an easy one to make if you're a writer, for mine. There's a good comment from Abdi here on YouTube. These dudes, that's talking about else, talking like that's all other characters look totally different with wigs and costumes, but it's Matt Smith. Oh, I need to criticize it, even though it doesn't make any sense. Gosh. And I guess, Abdi, what I'd say is that it does hit a little differently for me when it's a famous face. Like that's the kind of the thing about casting celebrities in roles sometimes. I mean, it's good because it attracts people to your show or your movie or whatever, but it's a bit of a risk because you risk people looking at the character and seeing the actor, not the character. So I don't want to
good point.
Kind of think of Doctor Who when I look at Matt Smith in a blonde wig. It's just I watched that show and now it's hard for me not to. But I mean, also, if you see a famous person and they get into it enough, it doesn't really matter. Like if he does a good job by the second episode, I'll probably be on board. But that's why I'm curious.
Totally.
I do think it makes a difference though when you cast or like it's not celebrities, like just like folk who have names and have faces out there than more unknowns or folk who just aren't terribly well known or work in theater or something.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Stars, it's a whole thing. But I'm not against it. I'm all for it. I just there is a bit of a trickier line to walk when you have a big name in your cast. Oh, as Christian Hanna said, Colin Farrell did a good job. Yeah, as the Penguin and the Batman, like Daniel,
he was amazing.
Didn't even know it was him. I think what you said.
I know. Yeah, no, I did not know for a while that it was him. I think he totally nailed it. That's a perfect example where like when I heard it was Colin Farrell, I was like, okay, do we need this? Did anyone ask for this? Is it going to be any good? But then seeing it, he totally transformed. So that's a great example because they could have cast an ugly unknown person as the Penguin, and instead they cast Colin Farrell and put him under tons of prosthetics. So there's just an extra, looking at these things critically, there's an extra level of needing to, I guess, justify it in some way through their performance.
Maybe, a little bit, yeah.
I think Matt Smith probably will nail it.
I think he will. He's a very good actor. Like I'm not really worried, but there is this little dichotomy when it comes to celebrities. But anyway, the other point I want to bring up about House of the Dragon is, okay, and I want to ask, and all you guys too. I mean, this is obviously a Game of Thrones podcast, so we're all kind of team Game of Thrones here. But that's the thing. So this show is going to be airing August 21st, which means that it's going to be airing at the same time as Amazon's The Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power show. That's going to be loud, Dan. They're going to be, I am already picturing people online, people writing think pieces, including us. Maybe even people on like the radio, news shows, Facebook, Instagram. There's going to be Twitter, obviously. Twitter's going to be the main one. Twitter's going to be a bloody battleground. There's going to be a lot of hot takes on Lord of the Rings versus House of the Dragon. Which is better? Which is worse? 8 things that the Rings of Power did better than House of the Dragon. 12 things that House of the Dragon did that Lord of the Rings doesn't have to do. Yada, 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 and so forth. What do you think of it? Are you looking forward to that? Do you wish this had aired separately, or do you think it's good that these two giant fantasy shows are going to be airing literally at the same time?
Yeah. So chime in the chat, guys. I personally, I feel like this was destined to happen. It's kind of one of those things where it's like, we've been joking about it since like January, like watch them be airing at the same time, and it turns into the online rumble of these two great fantasy shows happening at once. it feels like it was always going to shake out that way somehow. So I personally am for it. I mean, it's going to be crazy for us reporting on both of these shows.
Yes,
It's going to be a busy couple of months. But I think it's going to be exciting. It's kind of cool to see, prequel series to two very influential stories happening around the same time. The jury's out on how good either or both of them will be. I'm more confident in one than the other, but yeah, I'm all for it. How about you?
I'm all for it too. I think it'll be exciting. I think it'll be intense. We'll be working very hard, but yeah, I think there'll be a lot of energy in the room, like just in general during those few months. I bet it'll be exciting to be watching both. And
yeah,
I mean, like for us, we got to watch both, and then I have to get online to talk about both. There's going to be a lot of energy there to looking forward to. Also, just hopefully they're both really good and I enjoy them both. As Joanne says, wish they were spaced out, but will be glued to my set. And Nicole says, I would rather have it separated because I might confuse the two. That's interesting. Yes, it's possible.
Yeah.
It's like when The Witcher was at the same time as The Wheel of Time, which is a good point. Yeah. Like,
that is fair. And we did compare them.
Completely fair. Oh, 100%. We completely compared them.
we did.
We enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Look, human beings like comparing things. Human beings like saying this is better or worse than the other thing. It's just part of human nature. So that's my preemptive response, folks. Like, they're different. Treat them as different. Like, I will, but that's just where the brain goes. I can't help it, and I'm not going to apologize for that or try to not do it just because.
Yeah.
Like, they're going to get compared. I am going to just get on the train now and start doing it rather than pointlessly resist. And I'm looking forward to both. It should be an exciting time to be watching the TV.
Yes, it will. I hope I hope this breaks into the mainstream news a little bit, that these two gigantic fantasy shows are on at the same time. More fantasy in the mainstream news, please.
Speaking of fantastical things, we've talked a lot about House of the Dragon, of course we have, but let's talk a bit about the new Marvel program, Moon Knight. That's Marvel's new superhero show starring Oscar Isaac as an amnesiac, dissociative identity disorder having superhero who is part mild-mannered British gift shop worker and part globe-trotting devil jackal beating up costume wearing mercenary man of mystery.
That's the official synopsis.
I don't know why I'm not being hired to write these things. We both watched the premiere episode, and Daniel, I have two questions for you. One, what's in your mug? Because Christian wants to know. And B, what's like a Moon Knight?
This is it's straight milk of the poppy in the mug. I'll be asleep as soon as the episode ends. No, it's just water, unfortunately. I did think, as I was getting ready for this, I had to break out the Stark mug because it's House of the Dragon Day.
Naturally.
We'll see if there's ever a day that's worth getting out a drinking horn for here on the podcast. Oh. Maybe when the show airs.
Right. When the premiere comes.
Okay, so that was question one. What's question two?
What did you think of the Moon Knight premiere?
I loved the Moon Knight premiere. I thought it was, I went into it with high expectations, and it was a little different than my expectations, but I think that was for the better. I really liked how much of the action took place off screen, which I feel like is is not a take I ever expected to give, but it really immersed you in the viewpoint of museum worker Stephen Grant a lot more. That
British museum worker Stephen Grant,
British museum worker Oscar Isaac, yes,
who is not British. And I remember that I watched the trailer and I saw him talking in a British accent. I was like, is he British? Is he one of those people who just are British and you don't know it, like Tom Holland? But no, he's not. He's just put on an accent for the show.
Yeah. What did you think? Did you enjoy it?
I actually really did. I went in with low expectations because Marvel in general rubs me the wrong way. But I gotta say, I actually really enjoyed it. Nicole asked, is it dark and edgy? And my answer is, it's probably about as dark and edgy as Marvel's going to get, Nicole, which is to say, Oh, kinda. It definitely has. It features blood.
Yeah.
It features a cult leader. It features very dark photography in a museum, but it also features like lots of quips. And honestly, I expected. I My problem with Marvel is that everything kind of feels the same at the end of the day to me a little bit. Like it has the same tone
Mhm.
of like, let's go hard, but not too hard because we got to like rope in the family audience. So we got to like have the
Yeah.
jokes, and it sometimes the like all the quips sort of make it just feel homogenous. But I actually laughed at a bunch of them in this episode. Like I was kind of
Yeah.
surprised. And
I totally agree with that.
yeah. And I completely agree with you. Like the a lot of the action, like the action scenes, there are a lot of good ones, but the action scenes taking place off screen was like kind of unexpected and different, and gave it like a charge of like, why is
Yes.
this happening? What keeps happening to this character? I would say this is the one that I've enjoyed the most, I think, of the Marvel premiere so
Yeah.
far. Now, I will say Marvel shows tend to start well sometimes, and then like I don't think I've liked any of the endings to any of the Marvel shows.
Oh,
Even if
really?
I like no.
Not even
Like,
Loki?
and Loki. Well, okay, Loki was probably the best one. Although the Loki one got blasted because people were like,
Oh,
it's
did
just a
it?
guy talking for like 45 minutes in the finale. We're bored.
That was why it was good.
Yeah, honestly, I did
Yeah.
like that. But this
Yeah.
was my favorite premiere probably, because it just had a different kind of energy, which was Marvel, but different enough that I didn't feel dragged into the gravity of the greater MCU yet.
Yes. Yeah, that was exactly what I said after I finished watching. This feels like the least MCU dependent story right now.
Yes.
Like
Right
I
now.
saw a quote somewhere floating. Yeah, right now. I saw a quote floating around somewhere about how one of the people attached to Moon Knight said it didn't need as many MCU references. And I hope that we don't get to episode 4 and it becomes a who's gonna cameo next fest, because the story as it stands right now is really cool and doing different things than any other Marvel story has. Yeah, I liked it a lot. I think the humor, I had heard
Surprisingly
early
effective.
impressions that it was funnier than people expected. Like it's dark for Marvel. But Oscar Isaac, he feels like
Really
he's like
good.
an actor at the top of his game here. Like
Dude,
the humor works because of him.
He was
it really
fantastic throughout. Like whether he was
Yeah.
like all the physical comedy stuff and like throwing the cupcakes in the guy's face, and like all the frantic running,
Yes.
the fear, like kind of the hesitancy, and then he was convincing as the brief Mark Spector moment too. I even like in your review, remember you said like hilariously he's talking to a guy who's statue still. And I read that and I was like, that doesn't sound funny. And then it happened this minute. I was like, that's not very funny. It's kind of hacky. But then the rest of it, I a little feared, like, I wonder if it's just going to be all like that. But then there were a lot of parts where I actually did laugh out loud and also get pretty invested. Like, yes, I am excited to see this. I think it's one of the more interesting things they've done. Bring it on. I did not think that statue was funny.
I didn't think it was. For the record, I didn't say it was funny. I said it was an example of their writing being good, because he's complaining about needing to always be moving and how restless he is, to a street performer whose job it is to be a human statue.
Yeah, but it had that whole thing where like he was talking and then like you can't see who he's talking to, and I'm like, oh, what's the twist gonna be? What goofy thing we're not talking to? Is it gonna be a dog? Is it gonna be a mailbox? Oh, it's a guy who's a statue in a square. Oh, how clever! That's so nice.
That's right.
But
fair enough. You can't please everyone.
You cannot please everyone. Generally, I liked it though. Christian liked Hawkeye.
Ooh.
I enjoyed. Hawkeye kind of fell into what you said, like the who's going to cameo next camp for me. I enjoyed it, but it felt very held hostage by the Marvel machine almost to me. I enjoyed it, but this is more interesting to me. So
I agree with that. I liked Hawkeye a lot, but I think it was halfway through the season, it basically became we're going to get a new cameo every week.
Every single one. Yeah.
Which I enjoyed the cameos, but it detracted from like the overall focus, I guess, compared to something like WandaVision that was really focused.
Yeah.
Right down the line to the end with the story it was telling. It felt like Hawkeye was telling a few different stories, which was cool.
Completely agreed.
That one feels exactly like the opposite of what Moon Knight feels like right now. Like you couldn't really watch Hawkeye if you weren't up on your MCU stuff.
Yes, I agree. Or
you wouldn't get like half of it.
Yeah, not my favorite one, but I mean, cute. It was nice. I didn't hate it. By the way, before we move on, Nicole says Hawkeye's too one-dimensional for me. I tend to agree. But and Nicole, I mean, I'm not sure if you're into Marvel stuff. Yes, you are. You watch Hawkeye. This one's pretty good. I'm enjoying it quite a bit.
Yeah.
Totamu has a cool comment before we move on about House of the Dragon. Says, I find it interesting that House of the Dragon will have 2 episodes out by the time Lord of the Rings airs. Since Lord of the Rings only has 8 episodes, they are going to be airing episodes back to back till they end. Only
this is what Totamu, I mean. It was destined.
Quite possibly not. I hit the math a bit ago. So Amazon likes to drop like the first 3 episodes of things at once. The Wheel of Time did that. This is may as well drop like 2 at a time. We're not sure, but I think what they're going to do is drop the first 3 all at once on Amazon. So they're only going to have 5 left, and House of the Dragon has 10, and they're only going to do 1 a week.
Yeah.
So I think House of the Dragon will start before Lord of the Rings and also end after Lord of the Rings is over.
Man, that's gonna just eat their. I mean, they're gonna have whatever season they're gonna have, but that feels like how could that not eat their thunder a little bit if it starts before and like if the Rings of Power's entire run is during House of the Dragon, and then House of the Dragon gets to have its finale uncontested. I don't know.
I mean, we're not sure they're gonna do that, but I think they will. Like, because that's usually what Amazon likes to do. If it were me, I would do it 1 a week, but it's not. So
yeah,
we'll see
unfortunately
how it goes. So Daniel,
yeah,
we've been talking a lot. We've been eating up a lot of time. I know we have a what are we watching section. You want to take like 30 seconds, say what you're watching?
Sure. Yeah. Moon Knight.
Of course.
Go watch it. I also started Outlander this week. I will get caught up, Outlander fans. I gotta say, I like it a bit. I felt a little torn because I've been watching Outlander since it started. I enjoy the show. It feels a little like we're kind of going in circles, or like it's like the cycle of trauma kind of on Outlander, and it needs to be for the heavy like subject matter they deal with.
Right.
But at a certain point, it feels like we're covering ground we've already covered in some ways. So I've only seen the first episode. I still have 3 more to catch up on. I liked it. It feels like the jury's out. I like the Christies coming onto the scene, stirring up trouble. I mean, I hate the Christies. The Christies suck, but it's a test. The show is best when it has good villains. So the Christie father is kind of detestable. So yeah, jury's out, but I'm enjoying what I've seen so far. I just hope it picks up.
As Nicole
says it's been very slow pacing. Yeah.
And Julie says it gets better. Keep watching. So yeah, I'll be curious. Check back in on that.
I will.
I watched the end of Our Flag Means Death. Damn, they got real gay, didn't they? That went on full gay. Our Flag Means Death.
I haven't seen the end.
Oh no, you haven't? Sorry.
No, it's okay. I saw the fan art. I knew.
That's funny where that came from. I was surprised. And again, at like HBO's Guts, like the 2 main characters, Blackbeard and Steed Bonnet, got fully into a gay relationship, and that's like the tension. All right, cool. Good for them. Interesting.
Yeah.
Again, gutsy take.
It's a gutsy take. I feel like it's they set it up. It doesn't, again, I haven't seen the end, but knowing that's where it's going, it doesn't feel like that will come out of nowhere.
Oh no.
I mean,
like,
it?
No, are you kidding? Like, they've had significant glances all season. I feel like there are a lot of shows where the fan base, at least there's like a certain kind of fan base, that like likes to write kind of slash fiction. Like they see like kind of characters being very close in TV shows, and then they kind of take that and run with it and make these what sometimes to me come off as like, I don't know, imaginary realities that don't really reflect what the story is being told. But they do it, and then like, you know, they have like who's a famous gay couple? Oh, like Sherlock and John Watson. Like that couple for like the entire run of that show, the fans were like, gay, 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 give us more gay, 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 gay. And they didn't, and there was like people who were mad at the end of that series that they didn't get together, because in the fans' heads that this is what should happen. Our Flag Means Death almost felt like a reaction to that, like it was commenting on that. Like, we're gonna do the same thing, only we're gonna actually follow through, which is cool. Like I hadn't seen that before, so it was very fun. It like the show wasn't as funny as I thought it was gonna be, but it was charming and interesting.
It seemed charming feels like the right word. It was in what I've seen of it. I still need to watch the last two. I really enjoyed them. Definitely didn't. I mean, I laughed more during Moon Knight probably than I did during most episodes of Our Flag Means Death. But I found one hot take for Our Flag Means Death that I've been thinking about, which is that it's not just a love letter to like pirate stuff, but also to black sails. And of course, I perked up at that because I love black sails. But thinking about a few of the major beats, like them going to like the pirate capital, it's called Nassau and Black Sails. I don't remember what they call it, the Republic of Pirates, which was the name for it in
Leslie Jones Island.
But the one of the main characters of Black Sails, one of the scariest pirates, you find out is gay halfway through the show. Wow. So there are some other nods like that where it's like, I could maybe buy it. I don't totally subscribe to the Black Sails love letter, but my heart. So
you do love Black Sails. People watching Daniel's like favorite show ever is Black Sails. So if you ever want to get him a Christmas gift, make it a Black Sails hoodie.
That's right.
Beyond that, did you watch anything else? Christian asked if I started watching Resident Alien. I'm going to get to it. I started watching Miracle Workers, the show with Daniel Radcliffe and Steve Buscemi. Is in like an anthology.
How is that?
It's good. Like it always looked interesting to me. It always looked kind of funny and charming and like a sitcom, but not a laugh track sitcom. And again, like sort of a sci-fi twist. They work in heaven or whatever. Really funny, nice, cool, half hour, goes down really easy. I'm gonna watch the rest. Cool. Very, very easy watching, like it, quirky in a good way, not overbearing, not too much, solid. I still gotta find out what.
You know what else?
How to watch an Alien? What's that?
The other show that I've watched a bit of this week that I'm a little ashamed to admit it, but I'm gonna admit it because we're here. We're being honest on the podcast.
Let's do it.
I've seen most of this season of Bridgerton.
As Nicole has as well.
We've had it on in the background here.
Bridgerton's huge. Don't be ashamed about that. No, Bridgerton's enormously popular.
That's true. It's a far cry from the kind of stuff I normally talk about on here. But yeah,
I don't know. It's got corsets and costumes and stuff, and it has string renditions of Madonna's Material Girl. It's got most things to talk about on here.
Yeah, Alanis Morissette was in there. That took me aback. Yeah, it's pretty good. I don't know if you've seen any of this season, but it's definitely I think it's maybe better than the first season. I don't remember the first season that well, but the tension's high.
Tension's high. That's what I don't know what. Maybe I'll watch. I don't know. It's not. I think that Resident Evil I want to watch. Resident Alien, sorry. I don't think Bridgerton's really high on my list, but it's possible.
I wouldn't go out of your way for it.
Nothing against it at all. It just doesn't ring my bell like some things do.
That's fair.
Anything else you're watching, or anything else y'all out there are watching before we move on to the next final section? I guess not.
I'm not. That's all I'm watching.
That's about it.
Aside from more Elden Ring.
Oh God, Elden Ring. Okay. Let's do the final section, the WiC News Lightning Round, where myself and Daniel have 20 seconds to give our hot takes on news of the day, no going over, on penalty of death. Okay. Daniel, I want your opinion.
That got real very fast.
This first one. Well, it's not true. If that helps. Okay, are you ready?
Wait, you want my take? You want to give a take?
I want your take. So I'm going to ask you, with your permission, if it's okay, this one first.
Yeah, sure.
Okay,
sure.
Cool. Okay, 20 seconds on the clock. Daniel, again, Will Smith just slapped Chris Rock's face at the Oscars. Your thoughts?
I mean, aside from that, I thought it was hilarious. Okay, so Will Smith's wife has alopecia.
Yeah,
it's a sensitive thing. Hearing a joke about something like that in front of thousands of people on television, I don't blame Will Smith for doing it, but
and that is all for that complicated
situation. Yeah, that's it. That's all the room we've got.
Okay, go on.
Okay, Dan, The Last Kingdom was the #1 show on Netflix the week after its release.
Good for The Last Kingdom. I mean, we've always said that historical show is very, very good, but kind of underwatched. I mean, it always had fans, but never like blew up. I love to see that in its final season, it's had bigger success. And I wonder if the success is making Netflix look twice, think like, should we give it a 6th season rather than? I mean, it's kind of too late now, but I'm glad that it ended and strong. Okay,
yeah, agree.
Daniel, Michael Keaton, actor, is reportedly only in the post-credit scene for the upcoming Spider-Man adjacent movie Morbius, and fans are mad. Why are they mad about that?
Because he's been in all the trailers. It's been the main selling point for Morbius of Michael Keaton's in it. How are we tying it to the MCU? Because Michael Keaton was in the MCU.
Yes, he was.
It's the same character, and he's reportedly been cut to only the post credits. So they've had post credit scenes in the trailers, and that's ridiculous.
Up in arms about Morbius.
I'm mad about that one. Fool me once, Sony. Okay,
hit me,
Dan. Kit Harington auctions off signed Game of Thrones wrap gift, with proceeds going to humanitarian relief in Ukraine.
I'm getting really easy ones. It's just like nice things. Like, yeah, Kit Harington, Jon Snow in Game of Thrones, just auctioned off like this blanket he got for the end of Game of Thrones, like from the production. Like, there are only like so many out in the world. And just the proceeds go to help Ukrainians who are being displaced and bombed in the war that are Putin's raging right now. That's great. It's obviously laudable. Good for him. And more like this, please. All right. Okay. Daniel.
Almost like you planned this lightning round.
But of course I did. I mean, I wrote it. I literally planned this. Daniel, Oscar Isaac says that the Metal Gear Solid movie, where he plays famed video game character Solid Snake, is still in development, still going forward. Are you interested in that?
Yeah, I'm interested in that. I love Metal Gear Solid. I've been playing it since I was a young gamer. I'm excited to see Oscar Isaac do that. They're searching for the story. So whenever it happens, I will watch it and give it a chance. And I think Metal Gear lends itself well to movies. Catch you next week,
very much. Adios, Julie.
Yeah.
Yes,
all right, Dan.
All right.
I want to hear your take on this one. Okay, so see if I can read it without laughing. Vladimir Putin thinks J.K. Rowling... Yeah, Vladimir Putin, the Russian dictator currently waging war on Ukraine.
That guy.
That guy thinks J.K. Rowling was unfairly canceled for her transphobia. How do you feel about this?
This was insane. So Vladimir Putin takes time out of his busy schedule of invading a country and creating a huge refugee crisis, killing thousands of people, to get on TV and say that he feels kinship with J.K. Rowling because he apparently also thinks that trans people are dangerous and confused. It's insane. Who does that? Okay.
Yeah.
God,
I hope it made her think twice.
I was laughing about that for a long time. Can you imagine? Just okay. Okay. Daniel. Fantasy author Brandon Sanderson backs every single publishing project on Kickstarter. Pretty cool.
Yeah, pretty cool. Brandon Sanderson breaking records for the highest funded Kickstarter of all time, over 35 million at this point, ends tomorrow. And he went through as a way to give back and backed every single book project that was being made on Kickstarter. And I think that's awesome. And that's the kind of reason people like him so much.
There's some really feel good stories in this one, interspersed some really weird stories.
Yeah, truth. Okay. Which is this one? Is this feel good, or is this maybe this is a weird one?
This is industry rigmarole.
Okay, industry rigmarole. That thing. HBO Max is HBO Max is making an It prequel series. Stephen King's It prequel.
I don't think this is good or bad, really. It was a movie. It was successful. So it had a killer clown who eats children. And now HBO Max is going to make a prequel show set 20 years before the start of the first movie. I mean, it feels like a cash grab to me because, like, I don't know, nobody really want that. But, you know, they want to have like a Dune series and the Batman series. Now they're going to have an It series because those are like the franchises. Good for them. I'm fine with it. I don't know.
It's a choice.
Yeah, it's fine. And that is all we got for you this week. Thanks everybody for watching. I enjoyed this one. There's a lot of big news, a lot of big things to go over. I always enjoy talking with you guys. We both do. And I hope, as Kristen says, so the clown wins. Like, yeah, it's gotta be. It's like in the 60s and he comes up and he eats kids and he's fine. He goes to sleep happy and healthy and full, I guess.
And he's fine.
What? He doesn't die. Like we saw that happen in the 2020s. But okay, as Nicole says, it's been very overdone, and I agree with that too. They want to wring some more out of it. That they want to they see some dollar signs. They're like, let's make a show. Like it's the same thing with the Batman and the. I mean, not that it won't be good. I'm sure it could be good, but once they want to get like a spinoff and kind of wring stuff. Anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. We are here every Wednesday at 4 p.m. Central Standard Time at the Winter is Coming a Facebook page and the Winter is Coming YouTube page. Hope you can join us for more quality discussion. You can also download the Take the Black Light podcast on Google Play, iTunes, wherever podcasts are downloadable. We'll be back next week to answer all of your questions. Goodbye.